We cover the latest topics and trends making waves across the sport and chat with our industry's most prominent leaders, so your golf business stays one step ahead. Welcome to Golf Business Live, powered by Club Caddy. Here's NGCOA CEO Jay Karen and owner of Augusta Ranch Golf Club and president of the PGA of America, Don Rea.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the December 2024 episode of Golf Business Live, powered by Club Caddy, coming to you live since the spring of 2020. Those were the days. It is a show where we discuss the happenings on the trade side of the golf business. I am Jay Karen, CEO of the National Golf Course Owners Association, and the ham to my egg, Don Rea, president of the PGA of America and owner of Augusta Ranch Golf Club. Don, welcome to the show, Mr. President. It is so good to see you. Where on earth are you today?
It isn't. I was just thinking, that first show we did, I was still running for secretary, right? I mean,
almost.
That was
yeah,
it.
I guess you were.
I was.
You were.
No, oh yeah, dude. I was grinding because I was doing the campaign while I was cleaning carts and everything else that COVID demanded of us. South Carolina. I actually was in New York City this morning. Went to the March of Dimes sports luncheon yesterday, where with the PGA of America and all those big sports guys and marketing guys and television guys in New York were there. Raised $1 million in one day for March of Dimes, which was cool.
Wow.
Eli Manning gave like the greatest speech. He was named the Hero Award. He got the Hero Award for the March of Dimes because he's been doing stuff for March of Dimes. I mean, before he became quarterback for the Giants. I mean, so it's that was good. And then jumped on a plane, flew here to my East Coast office. I'm going to call it here in South Carolina. And I've been busy. It's been 1 month. Today's my month anniversary, Jay, when you were there and the NGCOA board was there congratulating me for being president, which was really cool. It was special because once you're part of the NGCOA family, you're always part of the NGCOA.
We're going to get to some of that. That was an exciting week to be there in Grand Rapids with you. As a reminder to all of our friends tuning in, whether on YouTube, Facebook, X, or LinkedIn, we invite your comments. We have a lot to talk about today as the year is ending and as the next year is beginning. But we'll definitely try to get to some of your comments during the show. This is the time of year, Don, I used to write my column at the beginning of the year and I would refer to the Greek god Janus. The month of January is named after Janus. It's a two-headed god looking backwards and looking forwards, right? And so we're going to do a little bit of that today. But, before we dive into some questions, I want to talk to you about the presidency and what's happening and how you have not been impeached by now. I have no clue.
What are you talking about?
I got to look in the bylaws.
Did you see what I won by? I won in a landslide. No one ran against me. It was such a powerful, people can run against you, Jay. It's not a slam dunk. I could have, the last 4 years as secretary and vice president, I could have totally not been a man of my word, not gone out there and visit all the sections. And I said, Don's a fraud. He's not going to be our president. But there's a governance.
And they take nominations from the floor too. Like they take nominations from the floor. So anybody could run in that moment, which I find really interesting because you go through like this grueling multi-year process. Sections get involved in endorsement, all of this going on. And then, anybody at the last minute can say, hey, I think I'll run. And you might have to actually accommodate that and have a vote and do all that. But that's interesting.
But that's what's cool, and certainly, and actually we have a provision for that. If that did happen and the person got elected, there'd be a 30-day kind of background search, a background check, just to make sure that person was legitimate. But, why wouldn't you? I mean, I think you're not going to be a democratic association that's actually, governed by the members in a sense, which is something I want to talk about a little bit when we get into, I'm sure you're going to throw a bunch of questions at me today, but, on the topics we're going to talk about of who the PGA of America is and how it's run. But isn't that cool? Isn't that cool that if the leadership of the PGA of America and the member believes that they don't believe in the leadership, they don't believe in the board of directors, that any member can run from the floor to say, hey, I think I could do a better job. That is truly a democratic way to have an association. And that's why we're about the member. Yeah.
That's great, man. Well, listen, a couple house items before we get into some of the industry Q&A and discussions. I know you travel quite a bit, but I've had some really nice travels recently. I spoke at the New England Golf Course Owners Association meeting a few weeks ago. Elaine Gebhardt, good job with your meeting. It was such a great time to see
the best.
Oh my gosh, we honored Walt Lenkow. You know, he got an outgoing award. He and Colette were there. It was great to see them. And then I go on to the Michigan Golf Course Association. I was there this week in Detroit, where Jada Paisley and their group did an amazing job. I think their biggest conference ever. So just to be in a room with dozens and dozens of course owners and operators. I sit in this office in Charleston. It would be the proverbial Ivy Tower to some folks. Like, do you ever come down from the Ivy Tower? Hell yeah, we do. And we get to visit with our members, talk with them about their pains and their successes, and really learn, for those moments. And I did a kind of a roundtable thing or crowdsource with several in the room, and just really picked up a lot of good stuff, and dropped some seeds as well, right? To see, maybe give them some food for thought on what to expect in 2025. So that was great. And then actually on Sunday, I head to Monterey, California, and I'm the keynote at the Northern California PGA section, my man. So I'll be there with members and giving them the SWOT analysis I have for the golf industry. So look forward to that. We also, just a few things, we launched in NGCOA, the Muni community. We made a big step this past year at NGCOA, changed some bylaws, and we actually invited our first municipal golf operator onto the board of directors, Keith Miller from Montgomery County Revenue Authority. We've got hundreds of municipal golf courses in the membership, and we got more coming now. So we've got a new community to serve the municipal, and we're going to get to why a little bit down the road here when I talk about supply and the future of supply in golf. But we've really welcomed them into this association and to serve them because they've never really had a home, an association for the municipal sector. And so we've welcomed them in, and we're actually going to be doing some really great work with them. We've got a benchmarking P&L study that we've launched with Greenlight Advisors to measure the P&Ls of munis against each other, so you can benchmark those things. And at the Golf Business Conference coming up, we'll have some specialty classes and workshops for Muni members, as well as all the great owners and operators that we have at the conference. So it's really widening the tent at NGCOA, which I think is incredibly important. And, we are an owners association, and every golf course has an owner of some kind, whether it's the members, whether it's a Don Rea, whether it's a city that has owned a golf course for 120 years, whatever it is, we need to serve the interests of the entire industry and lift us. So very excited about that. Speaking of the Golf Business Conference, we just announced today, I think, some of our award winners that we're going to recognize at the conference, at the PGA show. We've got Tom Watson, our Award of Merit winner. So it's going to be super exciting to close out GBC with a Q&A with Mr. Watson himself, talking about whatever we want to talk about. It's going to be great. Congratulations to Bobby Jones Golf Links, who's won the GEMSIC National Course of the Year Award there in Atlanta, Georgia. What a facility. What they've done there is amazing work. Congrats to Dave Pillsbury, who's our Don Rossi Award winner. We're going to be able to honor Dave and all he's done for NGCOA for 25 years at least, dating back to his days as co-CEO of American Golf Corporation. I remember sitting in some strategy meetings with him back in probably 2003, 2004, and thought, this guy's a rock star, right? And he's been so good to us over the years. Congratulations to Mike Bennett, who's been the president of our Mid-Atlantic affiliate for many years. He's won the Paul Porter Award. And we're going to honor two golf courses, Franklin Bridge in Franklin, Tennessee, and the Links of North Dakota and Ray, North Dakota for Player Development Awards. So lots of exciting people in courses and things that we're going to honor at the Golf Business Conference. A couple of other things, a heads up for the members. We're going to be launching before the end of the year 2 new white papers. One, a modern guide to golf marketing. It's been a long time since we published anything on marketing, as for your golf course. What are the tactics, the strategies and all of that golf courses today should be considering? What's that mix? So we're going to do that. And then cyber risk and data protection. We'll have and Harvey Silverman, our great writer, has written a wonderful piece on cybersecurity. This cybersecurity, Don, this is one of those things, we can talk about this for a second. One of those things where it's like, oh, that happens to other people. It happens to the big corporations with millions of users in their database with, millions of dollars in the bank that I'm going to try to steal. But I'm telling you, small businesses are the most vulnerable, and we're all using cloud computing now, which is the same kind of computing structure and infrastructure that the big guys are using, right? So we're just as vulnerable, and we're worried for golf course owners and operators in the future if they're not taking care of business on cybersecurity. So that's coming out, and it's a really great resource. So be on the lookout for that. But registration is open for the conference. We'll have a session on cybersecurity at the conference as well. For those of you that are interested, attend Harvey's session. So that's exciting. So go to golfbusinessconference.com to register today to come to the conference in Orlando. And just a little reminder to shop at the NGCOA website. This is my Superman moment. Yes, we have a partnership with T-Commerce. I love wearing this thing, man. I feel like Superman when I walk around the world with this NGCOA stuff on. Go to shop.ngcoa.org to get your NGCOA swag today. Okay, Don, did you hear now that there's a new president of the PGA of America? Did you hear that?
I heard that when I was there. That guy's name is Don.
Taylor, let's roll some footage from Michigan last month.
On behalf of the 1,400 members of the Southwest section of the PGA of America who nominated my dad, Don Rea Jr., for president of the PGA of America, it is with so much pride and love that I second that nomination. I love you, Dad.
Thank you. Don Rea has been duly nominated and second for the office of president. There being no other nominations, I now declare Don Rea Jr. to be elected the 44th president of the PGA of America by acclamation for a 2-year term. Don Rea. Well, before we get into why that coin's in front of you and what it means, let me get my thank yous out of the way, just in case I get emotional. I don't know about you, Eric and Nathan, but I think I blacked out when I was walking down that aisle. I don't know who I missed as a hug, but I want my hug. So see me later, because it really, you see that happen in every election, and then when you're walking down there, you truly black out. That's all I can tell you. I don't even know what happened.
Oh man, and then, you know what? Someone texted me, how did it go with the induction? I was like, and we're gonna spare everybody because it's a little long. It'll take up a lot of this episode today, but I was like, it was like a pastor on Super Bowl Sunday morning. You know, when you're talking about all the amazing work that's that the PGA does that you want to do. So talk to us a little bit about how the first couple of months have been. How's it been? Getting there is one thing, doing it's another. Right. So talk to me.
Well, that's first a little dirty pull showing my daughter. I mean, thank goodness you did the clips after that, because I started crying watching Katie do that. I mean, she had, I'll start crying now, but I mean, 5 years ago when we decided to run, I said, Katie, when I get elected, if I get elected, when I become president, I want you to give my speech. And she was still in high school at the time. And she's like, I'm in, you know what I mean? Because that's who she is. And incredibly emotional. I think the coin that I handed out, I mean, that's what set the whole thing up, right? I mean, there is a clip on, PGA of America's got a Vimeo channel, and we archive everything there. And we have all our new stuff there too. And there's a video that Wes and I did together explaining the coin. And the coin wasn't a memento, Jay. It wasn't just something to hand out to say, hey, Don's the president. It was like, this is what we're going to do. As the PGA of America, we're in a locker room when we're in meetings like that. And we got to look each other in the eye and go, are we going to make this place better than we found it? Are we going to do that? And, that coin, that some of you will see as I travel around the nation. But one side of it was our headquarters and the doors of that headquarters where every future PGA member will go. And then that's our home. It's our campus. It's where we hope to change the game, starting out of Frisco, Texas. And then certainly the other side was the Hawaiian quote. I won't even try to pronounce what Wes came up with, but I challenged Wes, to come up with a Hawaiian phrase that would just explain that we were going to work together. And for those of you who don't know, Wes Waialahua, he's the executive director of the Aloha section of the PGA of America, which is all of Hawaii. And I have to select the chair of the executive director committee. There's 41 sections, and I named Wes that, just like you named cabinet members, like the new president's doing. I kind of do the same. And Wes was there because he runs a very small sections, but he's been around a long time. And as you saw, Jay, I wanted us to be shoulder to shoulder on stage. So all our members and the industry would know that from the president to the chair of the ED committee is how we touch the member, that the EDs, the sections is how we do it, is that, we were going to be shoulder to shoulder. But, 4 weeks, a lot has happened, obviously. I mean, there's been several articles and things that have come out and, reacting to all that stuff. I think that's why when you become president, you can't just be now figuring out what the game plan is. I mean, remember the way it works, and it's by design. being secretary for 2 years and learning everything about the members of the PGA of America and what we do through the board of control, down to the membership committees, to vice president when you see all the finances of the PGA of America. That's 4 years. You basically get a diploma. You basically get a degree of the PGA of America, and now you utilize that degree as president. So nothing's really going to change. There'll be some focus points because I don't want to be a mile wide and an inch deep, but we're going to focus on PGA Coach, which is the future of the PGA member. We're going to focus on the next members that are at our PGM universities, and we're certainly going to focus on PGA Hope because these veterans were saving lives. And then finally, something that hasn't really happened from my chair, and Jay, it's all because of my time with you and being on the NGCOA board and going to National Golf Day. I'm really looking forward to the PGA, the NGCOA, and the GCSAA at a grassroots level. We always done it kind of up above with the AGIC. Now we're going to do it at the grassroots. I look forward to working with you and Rhett to get the word out that golf is not only good for the economy, it's good for the environment, and it's actually good for people.
Awesome. No, that's really great. Hey, Taylor, do you still have that clip from 2020 when he was running for secretary? When he was saying, when I asked him, hey, what's your platform? What would you do as president? Do we have that? All right. Can we
usually like to start what's happening in Mesa, but I want to talk about, this election. Congratulations to Don Rea, the new secretary of the PGA of America. Don, my only question on this is, what do you look forward to?
We don't want to go into how it all happens, right? Because if you're not a PGA member, it's hard to understand how it all works. But what's next? Just at the course that I've been at, I tell everybody, I feel like we're farmers, right? We're out here digging in the soil, planting little seeds of golfers and watering them. And I hope that they, become members of private clubs someday or play golf for the rest of their lives with their grandkids. And that's what I really excited about. I think, Jay, until my wife and daughter, Karen and Kate, see a commercial about golf and how we basically invented social distancing, and we're all about mental health, physical health, family health. That's what we do. And so really, I'm most excited about that is to bang this drum and to get the word out to the non-golfers, that the ones that are kind of kicking the tires right now on what we are and what we do. And we brought down some of those barriers of entry because they're interested in us. So now can we leverage that? And I know PGA members build relationships with their guests, and that's what I'd really like to just focus on is building those relationships and bringing more people to golf courses that have never played before.
I don't think anybody could argue with that platform. It's a good one.
Man, we have aged well. Wow.
I don't know. I weighed like 199 there. I just got out of the hospital for 16 days when I had that appendicitis deal that I almost died. But yeah, I think that's what it took me to lose all that weight. But that was an innocent Don Rea right there. I'm a more experienced Don Rea. I've unfortunately had to learn how to make it all happen, because it's nice to be idealistic, but at the end of the day, you've got to do the block and tackling and get boards motivated to get things done, right? That's what you and I do all the time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, I got a field of questions about just PGA stuff going on, and I've got some industry stuff I want to talk about. We're going to close hard at 5 o'clock because we both got things going on. So I do want to, surface a couple good questions for our friend Dave Schultz is bringing up some questions that others are bringing up, and I want to surface those. So how is the search going for Seth Waugh's replacement?
And by the way, I like the fact that we're doing this and we're opening up these questions. You and I both know on LinkedIn, I get a lot of questions and I try to answer them, but nobody will have me on their podcast out there. But I like answering these questions because I want everybody to understand the PGA of America. Right now, the CEO search, well, obviously the PGA of America is a big association. We want to do it right. And so we utilize ExecuSearch, which is our own internal company. We utilize Spencer Stewart. And it's been, I just went through my notes of all the notes I've taken over the last 6 months. We had 87 pages of notes about all the meetings that we've had and how we whittled it down to these last 3 candidates. So, that's where we're at right now. We have a board meeting next week where we'll make some discussions. I think, we're getting really close to naming the new CEO, but, I think the process is what I've been very proud of, Jay, is that, nowadays you've got to do background checks, social media checks, criminal checks. You got to do all those things down as far as you can go, because the media is always looking for negative stories. And what if we were to name the CEO and then something came out? And so that's one of the things that we're looking at too, but very proud of the process. And I would say, we'll know by the end of January for certain, like when the public, we're getting closer in the process but the public announcement, I think, will be in the next 60 days. I'm hoping. We'll see. The PGA of America, and can I take this opportunity, Jay, real fast, just to explain the PGA? We're not the PGA Tour. And I don't mean on the other things. I'm talking about how the associations run. I was elected by the members of the PGA of America because I was elected by the delegates of the PGA of America. Who are the delegates? They're the officers of the 41 sections. And so now those 41 sections, I can't have 41 or 82 people in a boardroom. Those 41 sections are put into 14 districts. And now a representative is elected by those constituents, by those 3 sections. And now those 14 individuals make up the board of directors. We are not a private company and don't want to be. We are an association, not a corporation. And so, yes, we might move a little slower than everybody likes, but it's because we're representing the 31,000. And we have a governance structure that keeps us healthy so that there's no internal conflict or messaging or influence that would impact the decisions we make. We are all about the members. So are we taking a little bit longer than everybody wants us to on the CEO search? Maybe. But we're doing it the right way because we want input from everybody, and the board, on behalf of everybody that elected them, will help us make that decision. In actuality, Jay, we'll make the decision. We have a search committee that's done all the work, and that's what we do. We present this recommendation to the board, and they have to ratify it. If they don't like it, they can send it back to committee. So I'm proud of the process. It's just not as fast as, believe me, would I want that process at Augusta Ranch to hire a head pro? No, that would take forever. But when I'm representing 31,000 people, this is the way it's got to be done because it's the best way to do it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It reminds me of, Bill Stein, our board member friend, he once told me, he's like, hire slow, fire fast. That's some good advice right there. It's simple, but it's pretty, it's a pretty good philosophy. And the PGA has been in the news, about a few things lately. In fact, just, yesterday or the day before, Tiger said something, and, Dave, again, he's the one bringing up some of these great questions. What are your thoughts on the tour players, or just the players, I guess, getting Tiger's idea, $5 million each for participating in, but giving that to charity or just being compensated. That's the big debate here is, should we compensate the players beyond the charity checks that you guys have been doing, which were $200,000 or $300,000 per player to the charity of their choice? Now it's a matter of, should they get paid? Does it kind of break the DNA of this whole thing? And you got the Europeans saying, well, we don't, we would pay to play, right? So where does that stand right now? There's Don Rea and what you think, and there could be, then there's the PGA, there's a fine line here.
Well,
so tell me what you can. Tell me what you can.
Well, at the end of the day, I'm president of the PGA, so I don't know if I can ever take that hat off again, in these conversations, because it's not fair. Because I do represent 31,000 people. I represent an association. So this is what I'd say to those conversations is, our players are as American as anybody else. You know how much money PGA Tour players give to charity? It's a lot. They're the most philanthropic, I would say, athletes in the world, to be quite honest with you. I'm telling you, if you see what they do at the local level, they just don't have big press conferences when they do it. Certainly, the PGA of America has been giving $200,000 to each player every year or every other year, regardless of whether it's European or domestic. And they give it to charity. We go like, which charity you want to give it to? And we give it to that charity. In addition, 20% of the Ryder Cup media rights, this is common knowledge. I'm not talking out of school here. It's paid to the PGA Tour. But that's different. You know what I mean? That's okay if it goes to the PGA Tour. In a sense, they own the name, image, likeness of the players, just like Major League Baseball and NFL, right? It's all the same structure. So I appreciate Tiger's comments because we're all about charity. I think people forget we are charity. The PGA of America is a charitable organization that all it does is give money out. Now, are we a really big operation? Does it cost a lot of money to run the Ryder Cup? Yeah, the build out alone on the Ryder Cup is $100+ million. That's how much it costs to build that city for 50,000 people a day. I mean, so that's a lot of money that we go in there. But if I'm proud of what we do for veterans, I'm proud of what the PGA of America, everybody wants to talk what the money is. I'd like to talk about what the money does. So when it comes to Tiger's comments, I appreciate him talking about charity. That's what we talk about all the time. Once again, the process of what we're going to do, is that money going to get higher? What's going to happen there? That's the board. And of course, we're talking about it. I mean, Keegan, I thought, had some great statements. He's like, listen, I've told the board what I believe of the PGA of America. I've talked to Keegan several times, in the last month, and we're working towards doing the right thing. So I'm always very, very confident in the process, because contrary to what some of the people say on LinkedIn, that this ivory tower, they're drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm sorry, but that's not the truth. I haven't changed since that video you just showed when I was sitting in my office at a par 61 golf course, right? I happen to be the president, but I haven't changed who I am. We're still always going to take the high road. We're still always going to give to charity. We're still going to always make sure the member is getting served, and we're growing the game. So I appreciate Tiger's comments. I love Keegan's comments. And just know the PGA is working on all of this. Our job is to give it all the way to charity. That's what we try to do all the time.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. All right, let's talk a little bit. Let's see, we're already at 425. Let's talk about, because you mentioned we mentioned Tiger. I want to pivot a little bit. We can come back to a lot of these PGA topics soon. TGL is launching here next month, right? This new golf entertainment format, these teams hitting golf balls into and playing the game into jumbo-sized screen. Not everybody's going to have one of those at home. But it's just kind of this screen golf on steroids concept, right? And so, curious, what do you think about it? What do you think it's going to do? And I do want to say this. Again, our friend Dave Schultz, I listened to him in a podcast not long ago, and he said a really smart thing. And I'm going to be on the lookout for this one when it comes to TGL, because if this is successful, it could really be a source of fuel for more and more play in simulators. It's already happening. That's spreading like wildfire, but it's a bit of a novelty still to a lot of people, right? So if this takes off, then it could really have a cascading effect. But what Dave said in his podcast was, look, and he's a smart dude, is if the game itself, if the guys are actually enjoying the game and their competitive fires, their true competitive fires are stoked and they really want to beat each other and they really want to play this game, it'll show. If it's just for television and let's, hit and giggle and laugh and give, smack talk each other and all that, they're really not in the game itself, then it might not last. It might be a flash in the pan, because people don't want to just sit there and watch the celebrity players just banter for a little while and hit some balls in the screen. But if they really get juiced by the game of it, that's going to be the difference maker. What do you think of that?
Yeah. No, I agree. Anybody who's watching golf and they're creating this, listen, we have to bridge the gap between screen golf or maybe even video game golf to real golf. What's wrong with that? That movie I saw, did you see that movie Gran Turismo? I think it's called. True story of a guy who was awesome at the video game. They invited the best players in the nation to a real live F1 class where they were going to pick out who the best driver was and then put him in a real car out there on the circuit. True story. Watch the movie. It's amazing. Could that happen in golf? And if it did, wouldn't that be the coolest thing ever? I mean, look at what we're talking about. All these kids who are, you've seen these big competitions they have is selling out arenas while kids play video games. Look at on YouTube. The highest subscription, the most views is usually a kid playing a video game and others are watching so they can get better at it. You insert golf in that. I mean, I would love for the PGA of America to have a golf game that drove people to it, that had PGA coach instructors saying, hey, that your swing was bad here, because the biometrics of everything that's going on.
Dude, that's so clever. Like if you spray a ball off a tee, then you can click something and like get a reservation for a lesson right up from that.
Right. And look at Sportsbox AI. Sportsbox AI can look at you and tell you exactly what's going on with your swing. So don't tell me that it's fake golf. Whatever Tiger's going to do. Now listen, if you saw Tiger on the putting green and challenged to a putting contest, he'd try to beat you. He don't need the money. He just likes to win. Yeah. Those guys are built that way. I'm telling you, if I've seen them all, they are. Look at Keegan. They win. They want to win. They don't get into golf. Money is the result of them winning. They want to win. And right. So I'm very bullish on that. I hope it goes well, because the more people that watch golf, go to Top Golf, that gets into Top Tracer, that gets them to My First Tee at Augusta Ranch, right? I am killing it at Augusta Ranch. The best marketing program I ever did was paid $500,000 for the Top Tracer base. That's a fact. I'm getting people who don't play golf to come to Augusta Ranch. Before that was impossible, and now it's probable, and now it's happening. So I love it. I hope it takes off. I think it's going to be really successful, and it will lead to, I would imagine, I haven't been in their meetings. I would love to be in their meetings. I wish the PGA was involved in their meetings. And if anybody's listened, love to be invited. But could you imagine if there was a video game tied to the launch of that league, and you could play with them because of the data created, and then I could teach them as the PGA coach, direct them to a coach near you off PGA.coach. That would be cool, and that would grow the game.
It's funny because we've gone from this conversation, I don't know, less than 10 years ago where, okay, the Top Golf effect. These things are starting to be built around the country. And the question was, how is that going to bring people to the real thing? It's like as though it's incumbent upon them to, right? Like the golf course owners and operators, the traditional industry was asking, how is that going to feed us? Kind of like, this newcomer, right? Or what are they going to do for us? And I've always said, you're asking the wrong question. It's like, what are you doing at your facility to emulate that, right? Because what are they doing that's fun and different? And so you have Top Golf, and then you've got Top Tracer Range and some of these great facilities, which is an interesting hybrid between the real golf and Top Golf, because you're ground level usually, and you're hitting into a driving range. So it kind of, the sensibilities of it as a golfer, I really like it. I really, really like it. I want more of it when I'm there. At Top Golf, usually if I'm with kids and all these people, after an hour, I'm ready to go. After an hour in a Top Tracer Range, I want another hour. It's that kind of feeling as a golfer, right? Screen golf and simulators. It's very different now. Now you're hitting into a screen, and it's not, you don't have the same aesthetics, the same, all of these things. It can be definitely a gateway. In South Korea, it is a gateway. It's where people learn the game of golf. But let's carry this forward a little bit. Segue into kind of a conversation about the supply of golf. I want you to stay with me for a second. Let's look at golf. Let's imagine golf 80 years from now. All right. A whole generation, 2 generations from now. When we look at the trend lines today, we've got screen golf, which maybe now we're finally settling in on what the right word is. Because we say golf entertainment, screen golf is clear. You're hitting into a screen. The NGF reports that in 2024, I think we're 25% more of these facilities around the country than in 2023. And now they're like over 2,000 facilities in America that are simulator-based kind of facilities, whether they're standalone, whether at golf courses, whatever, over 2,000 locations where you can go hit balls into a simulator for fun and for enjoyment, all these things. This is blowing up, right? And here in Charleston, we've got probably 8 or 10 around Charleston alone that have popped up in the last couple of years. Our local high school principal opened one across the street from the NGCOA headquarters. It's that easy to kind of get into the business a bit. So, and that's fine. Let's just say carry this forward, because South Korea's got 5,000 of these. We've only got 2,300 of these. Okay, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, are we going to have 10,000 of these around America? Possibly, don't know. We'll see what the market saturation point is. You've got golf courses still closing down, green grass golf courses, right? Primarily daily fee places like Augusta Ranch. That is the prime facility type that continues to close down, and it makes sense why, right? You're near population centers. You might have been built 30, 40 years ago, still pretty close to population center. You're sitting on dozens or a couple hundred acres of land. Not too many of those around near population centers. They're closing down because, as Joe Bettis at the NGF would say, the dirt is worth more than the turf, right? Someone strikes a check to develop that. You sell out. You see, it's actually an American dream story. I've been saying these days, Don. It's like, it's sad for golf, but it's an American dream for the family that sold for $10 million, this plot of land or whatever. All right, that's happening, and that's going to continue to happen. When you look at the golf courses being built in America, and there are only a couple of dozen that open in 2024, I think literally 24 courses, they're high-end private or high-end resort, additions to resorts, and some short courses, but no more daily fees, no more Charwoods, no more Pine Ridges, no more Augusta Ranches are being built to be $35 green fee places. They don't pencil out anymore. So carry these trend lines forward, right? The daily fee supply, is it going to continue to decline over the next 50 to 75 years? It might. What if we go from 6,000 of these to 3,000 of these in a few generations? Screen golf starts exploding around America. Private clubs will hold their own. It's a different economic model, different reasons to stay open. Municipal golf courses, this is where I'm kind of circling around to munis too, because if daily fee golf courses continue to slow down or close down, the role of the muni may become even more and more important as the egalitarian place to play for everybody to come and play, right? And so we've actually seen the NGF reports over the last 10 years, like the supply in the municipal market has gone up about 15%. Not that they're building a bunch, they're buying the ones that were closing down and adding it to the municipal supply because they see the value of holding it as green space, an amenity for the citizens. They know that this is where the community meets, where the kids come and learn of all kinds. Carry all this forward, man. What does the supply look like 80 years from now in golf in America?
That might have been the longest lead into a question in the history of golf business live, dude. That was amazing, dude. This is what did Peloton put the mountain biking industry out of business? I don't think so. You might be on the Peloton, but you still want to go outside and ride some trails, see some people, smell some grass. Golf courses aren't going away. You're right. There's some consolidation. I applaud the munis for what they're doing, because guess what? I mean, I don't take my dog to the dog park. I don't swim. I don't have any kids that are playing soccer, football, baseball, but yet the cities are subsidizing the cost of all of those natural parks. So why wouldn't you? If everybody over the age of 50, and we get better at this, where the people want to play golf, why wouldn't they get more involved in golf courses so that they can help their citizens, right? That's what cities are supposed to do. We don't help the city. The cities are supposed to help us because we're the taxpayers. So the answer to your question is, of course, I think there's going to be fluctuations. I think right now, the public golf, you're right, some guys are exiting, some gals are exiting, and they're making some money. But at the end of the day, the essence of golf is always out on the golf course and seeing the turtles and seeing the coyotes if you're in Arizona, to seeing the bobcats at the golf club at Eagle Mountain when I ran that. I'm not that worried about it, Jay.
Is it seeing the Angry Birds as well?
Oh yeah, Angry Birds was big. That's you could see an Angry Bird there, but you see some angry geese too, man. Those geese, the real live geese, they can be mean, and I know everybody knows what I'm talking about if you've seen one of those guys. But I'll finish my thought, then I'll be done. Give me 15 seconds. This is what I think. Golf courses have to be their own funnels, and I've said that before, but I'm going to elaborate. If you're going to have 18 holes or 9 holes of green grass out there, the thing that Top Tracer did, and In Range, any of those you want to talk to, I don't want anybody to think I'm getting paid by Top Tracer, because I am not, is that what did we do to bring golfers in? We relied on golfers to bring golfers in. We don't have any like funnel or marketing presence to get out there and get people and say, hey, do you want to play golf? What Top Golf has done is brilliant. I think it's just brought the game to the people. And now the people know the game. And now if they can go to Top Tracer, and I think golf courses in the future, 80 years from now, Jay, you know what they're going to have? A really good restaurant, because I'd rather be in a restaurant on a golf course than a restaurant in a strip mall. I'd rather see the ducks. I'd rather see the geese. I'd rather see the 18th hole. And I think they're going to have screen golf there, just like the Ashley George has going, right? And then I think Allison George, and I forgot, like I always call her Allison. I almost forgot her last name there. But I think it's going to be all those. When you're going to pull up to a golf course in the future, 80 years from now, Jay, screen golf, miniature golf, Top Tracer, and then you go out there and play the real golf course. And I think they're going to be golf amusement parks. And that's what people are going to want. And there'll be leagues in every other of those facets. There'll be a screen golf league, just like they had Golden Tee leagues back in the day, because Golden Tee, that's a great game. And then, it's not going away. It's just going to get bigger, because now golf is getting to the people instead of golfers trying to bring people in.
So I'm going to plant a seed for you as well. This is Mr. President of the PGA of America. You ready for this one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so I've been preaching this one for a little while. We're going to get to some more questions from the social media in a moment. So one of the biggest disconnects that I think needs to be connected in the golf world is between not just municipal golf courses, but parks and rec divisions, right? Parks and rec divisions around America. That's where parents take their kids to play baseball, basketball, football, lacrosse, you name it. That's where they go, right? I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's where they're running all the local programs. Parks and rec divisions also have become, in the past several years, just kind of gateways to all kinds of activities in the community. The local dojo, you could sign up for a karate camp, for 6-week karate camp through your Parks and Rec division, but you take the classes at the local dojo, right? The city doesn't run the class. They've been doing more and more and more of that over the past several years. What I want to see happen, and this is not I don't think NGCOA can make this happen. I think it's a matter of the PGA, USGA, and some others, is all these great programs that we've got going on at golf courses, PGA Junior League Golf, bingo, golf is a team sport, co-ed, name on the back, number, like this is awesome stuff, right? Parents should be able to sign up for that at the Parks and Rec offices, where they sign up for football, where they sign up for basketball. They still go to the course to play the game. And that's where they drop their kids off and do all that, but the Parks and Rec is where golf needs to live. They need to be the admissions office for Op 36, Junior League Golf, Little Linksters, you name it, whatever the programs are for adults or children, or whatever it might be. We need the programming to be there, and that's where they sign up, because 9 out of 10 people that don't play golf, they're not comfortable going to the golf course. They may not have ever heard of Junior League Golf, despite the marketing that PGA does on it. They need to go there. Let's circle back to the municipalities a little bit. It's not that we need to build a bunch of municipal golf courses and add all these programs. We've got the programs, for God's sakes, right? So why don't we use those offices to bring the masses to the programs that we have? Is that something, Mr. President, you think we should be talking about?
Well, absolutely. I wish we'd talk about those in the American Golf Industry Coalition than all of the other stuff. The SIN list and stuff is so important, but remember Golf 2020 was trying to do these things, and they were going to measure how golf was going to explode, and it didn't get there, but then it kind of did because of COVID. Don't stop at Parks and Rec. You got to go into the public schools. I mean, why aren't we getting into the public schools and the PE programs? I mean, I see kids shooting they're shooting arrows, doing archery classes in PE, and you're telling me golf is too dangerous to take out there? And there's so many different ways, whether it's snag or foam balls or whatever we do, or, trucks that pull up with screen golf so the kids can try it out. I think all of that is important. I think that'd be a collaborative effort. I mean, I'd love to talk to the USGA about this, to be honest with you. I love their United States Golf Development Program. I love the PGA members are the ones teaching that golf program. I love that. And that's for the best junior golfers in the land as a feeder system to the Olympics. I love it. I love the mission. But what if we steered some money to the public schools? What if we steered some money to the Parks and Rec to grow the game for the 26.1 million people that play, or 26.6 million, right? I think that's the key. Is we always tend to cater to the 1% of the 1% who actually make a living at this game playing it. Yeah. That's not what golf is. The good stuff happens at Augusta Ranch. The good stuff happens at those public facilities across the nation where the 26 million recreational golfers are. That's where the money should be going. Schools, boys and girls clubs, and Parks and Rec, and exposing the game to kids so their parents will go, I'll take you there. Now that would be a game changer, my friend.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's so much work still to be done on all this. It's unbelievable. There's still so much white space to get golf to the masses. All right. So speaking of golf and the masses, I want to bring up a question from the audience. Our good friend Dave Barton, who is the executive director of the National Alliance for Accessible Golf, actually. So what's the PGA's view of the term DEI as we enter 2025? Corporate America has taken a range of positions on this. Clearly, there remains work to be done. Putting politics aside, what's on the horizon for the PGA of America as far as demographics, individuals with disabilities, everything? What's the PGA looking to do in 2025 on this topic?
Well, I mean, the PGA is going to keep doing what it's doing. I think we're trying to get the world to act like golfers, and to do that, we need the world to start playing golf. You know what I mean? Because when you play golf, it changes you, right? You end up fixing your ball mark. You end up picking up pieces of trash as you walk by. I mean, you always leave it better than you found it, and you count every shot. Absolutely, the PGA is going to continue to always do this because you know why? Because our members do. The PGA of America is never going to make a big stance on social issues. I mean, why would we? We have 31,000 members that we represent. They all think they're scattered across the board, right? At any given time, they're different people, different sizes, shapes, and everything else. And so the PGA wants to represent PGA members, and what PGA members want to do is grow the game. And so I love what individual PGA members do at their golf courses with all of the inclusivity programs that they have. Because golf courses, look at Tony Martinez and what he's doing at Keaton Park. You look at the people he's bringing to that facility, this little facility outside of Dallas. He's killing it, and he's bringing more people to golf. Look what I'm doing at Augusta Ranch. Everybody focuses on the most elite golf courses, which they do amazing things too. But once again, there's a lot of public facilities out there, right? I mean, how many public facilities, Jay? 12,000 or something? Public golf courses?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, 12,000.
Something like that. And okay, so let's talk about that. I mean, so when you talk about the PGA of America, what are they doing for that? What we're doing is encourage our members to do everything they can, give them the programs that they can do to diversify the game in their communities at their section level. That's the beauty of the PGA. Once again, we're not some ivory tower. We're only as good as our members, and we're only good as the resources we give our members. That's why when we make money on the Ryder Cup, or we make money on the PGA Championship, what do? We quickly push it down to the members as fast as we can so that they can get people to get lessons on their PGA.coach profile or all the different things they're doing at the sections. The good stuff happens at our sections. And so, that's really the answer to the question. I think we want everybody to play the game of golf, because what I've seen it do for veterans, what I've seen it do in urban areas like at Keaton Park, I've seen it do at Augusta Ranch or on the Indian reservations of Arizona. once people play it, they get hooked and it changes them. So we just got to get them. We got to get out there. We got to take golf to the people, and we're doing that. It's just, we just got to keep doing it.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, I think to Dave's question, first of all, you got to believe in it. You got to believe in that expanding the game, right? And even with people, golfers with disabilities who he represents and advocates for, I know the PGA does an amazing job with that as well, with disabled veterans and some others. And it's, to me, it's not a matter of, woke, anti-woke, and we call it DEI, whatever it is. It's a philosophy of, do we believe in expanding the game and welcoming as many as possible? And what is the path to get there? So there are some terms that are triggering. There are some, people think it's a zero-sum game, that if we welcome these folks in, well, then someone must not be welcome anymore. It's about expansion. It's not a zero-sum game, and so I don't know what the future of all this is going to look like exactly, but I think we all need to stay committed to, it was my friend Steve Mona used to say that golf should look like America. I mean, that's a great thing to go after. So I guess, to Dave's point, the work will continue. It might shift and look different over time, and where we place our bets as far as expansion programs and diversity. I don't know, but I think it should always remain on the table until golf looks like America. So that's my opinion. But let me jump to another question here, because I'm going
to say one quick thing, get to the question. But if you want to know what the PGA does, look at our Constitution. We changed our inclusivity statement to say that we're good for everybody. We want everybody to play golf. So next question.
That was a big moment. I was in the room at that time.
Yeah, it was a unanimous vote of the delegation. It was awesome.
Yep. So Joseph Harmon's got a question here, but I'm gonna parlay into a bit of a different question. Is how are we going to bring together the culture of screen golf, fun, explosive for younger generations, with the culture that green grass facilities have created, slow, serious for the older generation? Now, I'm going to rephrase this a little bit. Thank you, Joseph, for your question, because it's a really good question. I'm going to phrase it a little differently. There was an article, and Seth Waugh said this, a lot in the last couple of years. Golf is cool. Right? It's like, and even GQ had an article like golf is cool and we're here for it kind of thing. All right. So the vibe of golf, if you are at all on social media, you're following any of this, it is cool. It is fun. It is different. Right. And my question that I'm asking golf course owners and operators in this moment is, what the hell are you doing about it? Because they're doing it. They're the ones who are defining what golf is and what it may be. They come to the average golf course 9 times out of 10, they're not going to see very much of the vibe that they saw on social media. It's going to be, what we did in 2025 looks a lot like what we did in 1995, except for maybe the GPS technology that's out there, right? It doesn't look and feel a lot different in most places still. I'm afraid we're going to miss the moment, right? And so what should we do to try to, do we have to publish a how to be cool manual? I gave at the Michigan Golf Course Association the other day. All right. So the latest thing on social media was someone made a 139-yard putt. Right. And it was like this explosion on social media. They made this. And I said, you know what you should do, golf course owners and operators? In 2 weeks, you have a contest. Come out. We're going to do a 140-yard putting contest. Come out. It costs you $15. $5 is going to charity. $10 is going to, the course, and whatever it is, come on out. Let's videotape this. Let's have a great time and try to make a 140-yard putt. That is what a golf course should be doing when they see this stuff happening on social media. There's a way to do this. What do you think we, NGCOA and PGA, need to do so that golf course owners and operators of all stripes aren't missing the moment right now? Because we don't want people to say, well, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
Well, it's up to you being you. That's what it is. The Club Managers Association, right? We've got to stir up. The golf has to be fun. We have to embrace the influencers. Look at on YouTube, whether it's Dude Perfect, Good, the Bryan brothers, they're killing it. Jake Hutt, he's got so many followers on Instagram, and that guy's amazing. And I think we have to embrace that. But you know what's going to happen, Jay, is the free economy system always works. And if you don't provide a product that people want, you will go out of business. And so golf courses will go out of business if they embrace what he just explained. Isn't that sad that the perception is slow, serious, old? Guess what the perception of Augusta Ranch was? Slow, serious, old. Because I'm a short course, and I'm in the middle of the snowbirds. That's all I got. That's how I make my money, is during the winter. But that's not who we were going to be defined. That's not who we're going to be. That's not what we were going to be. We didn't want to be defined by that. And so we did Top Tracer, and we're looking at miniature golf course. Where would we put it? And those are the things. That's what we have to inspire people, Jay. That's our job. That's certainly my job for the next 2 years. This is not about swing, stance, score. It's not about golf's not about that. It's about relationships. It's about physical fitness, mental fitness. It's about fun. It's about 100-yard putts. I love that idea. I mean, I might do that at Augusta Ranch. I think that'd be amazing to bring a bunch of people out who could make the longest putt. That'd be hilarious.
Okay, so I do want to ask another question. You mentioned the GCSA earlier and the golf course, great organization, Golf Course Superintendents Association. They're the ones carrying the water almost every time, whether it's at National Golf Day, grassroots, on everything environmental. USGA Green Section also has got, it gets involved in water reduction, use of water reduction and all of these things. So there's a lot going on. But I got to say, the environmental question's coming up more and more in my head. You and I had a LinkedIn conversation with, I think it was, what was his name? Brandon Russell was, talking to us about environmental. He's asking us, hey, should the PGA of America sign on to the UN sports climate standards? And we're like, hey, hang on, what does that mean? There's something called the Green Sports Alliance that a lot of major league sports and others are getting involved in. You and I have been around the industry a long time. I remember 20 years ago, there used to be environmental conferences in golf. We would gather and talk about this and dream things and try to move the ball forward on this. And I haven't seen a lot of industry-wide effort on the environmental question. And I may have mentioned this on the last show. I can't remember if I did or not, but I was not long ago, I was at Big Cedar Lodge, great, awesome resort in the Ozarks, right? I don't know if you've been there or not, but they've got an awesome aquarium and a place where they are featuring hunting and fishing, and conservation is the watchword there. We're conservationists as hunters. And I'm not a hunter, but I understand the concept of that a little bit. But I'm like, wait a second. How did the hunting industry co-opt the term conservation? And here I am walking in this great hall with 100 buck heads on the wall staring at me, all this death staring. These trophy bucks are looking at me and they're conservationists. I'm like, I don't get this. The cognitive dissonance in the moment was like, wait a second though. Golf owners and operators like Don Rea and your superintendents are stewards of the land and water. You want to take care of your asset. You want it to be better than what you found it, right? But the perception of golf is a bad guy in the environmental space. If you like, the non-golfer, we're a bad guy in their minds, but we know we're good guys. We have to change. We have to do a lot of things on this, Don. I think this is one of the big things that, whether it's the American Golf Industry Coalition or whatever it is, I think this is one of the next 50-year issues that we all have to get behind, is doing better, doing more, and telling our stories so that the world knows how good we are. They know we're good at charity. They know we're good at mental and physical health now. We've been telling that story at National Golf Day. We don't talk about the good that we are to the environment. And I think that needs to change. I don't know what you think we should be doing in the next 10, 20 years on that, but something we've got to do.
Well, you make a good point. I remember, the Audubon Sanctuary, like you wanted to get that, that certificate. It took a lot. You had to do a lot of work to get that. But then they had smaller levels that you could say, this is what I'm going to commit to. I think you're making some good points. I mean, it is going to be a collaborative effort. I mean, we're all trying to stay in our lanes, but we swim in the same pool. And so we're going to have to talk about things like this because the issues are many. And I think where it starts, Jay, is the measuring of this stuff. The USGA does an amazing job of, to your point, of all the agricultural stuff. And they're looking at best management practices. The superintendents are doing an amazing job with the BMPs. And they're doing their stuff. But who's measuring, does golf really stop a veteran from committing suicide? Does it really save their life? We can measure that. We can, I think the veterans would raise their hand and go, yes, let's prove it. If we prove it, then the legislators would be more apt to put money towards it. To your point, if we were measuring, the amount of waste that we're not doing anymore at golf courses, how we're cutting out turf. And by the way, when you water with effluent water, it goes through the soil profile all the way down into the underground aquifers. And somebody in 60 years is going to drink that water. I mean, that's what golf courses do. But you're right. I think, I don't know why we stopped talking about that. I mean, sometimes I guess you get the issue of the day and that didn't happen to be the issue, but it's got to be on, to your point, it's a good, you stirred me a little bit here. Like our PGA associates who are going through the programs, our PGM universities that are doing this. Is there a class that just talks about the goodness of golf environmentally, mentally, physically, and for charity? Like those are the 5 fundamentals of what we really do it for. And by the way, fun. I wonder if we're doing classes like that. I'm going to find out. I'm going to look into that because our young members need to have a basis of how really good this game is at every level and aspect.
And there's a lot to be proud of, for sure, that we've done over the past, 50 years in the industry. I think have definitely become better practitioners. You got GCSA out there with their BMPs, their best management practices. Superintendents are scientists now, right? We're following the law, but we still have work to do. I went to the USGA Museum in Pinehurst, and there's an awesome display right when you walk into the left, a room that basically shows the golf course and talks about water, but it talks about, and it says, yes, we use water. And it mentions like the billions of gallons of water we use or something like that. I'm like, no, if you're not a golfer, this may not how you lead this. The superintendents, and their messaging is awesome. But, one of the things they've led with the past few years is we've reduced water usage by 20% at golf courses. Yeah. It's like, and that's actually something to be very proud of. But if you're not a golfer, your first thought is, oh, that's impressive. But your second thought might be, oh, why have you had to reduce water usage? You guys must use a lot of water, right? And how much of that is wasted? You might have reduced it by 20%, but does that still mean you're still using too much? You must have been. Otherwise, why would you reduce it? And so we have to think about these things and what is the storytelling? It's because these are things to be proud of, but how we tell our story, I probably needs to evolve over the next several years. And I want to work with anybody to make that happen, because golf courses are targets, man. You look at the pecking order of water out west, and the rise of environmental concerns over the next, it's only going to get more. People aren't going to get less concerned with the environment over the next, 2 generations. They're going to get more concerned with the environment. Where does that put golf? What side of the ledger do we want to be on, the asset or the liability? Right?
Well, I do know one thing. If I lose 10% of my weight, please don't go, wow, Don must have been really fat. Don't say that to me, all right? Because if I lose 10% of my weight, can I get a high five and a hug? I mean, are you really going to look at me and go, wow, Don was 10% heavier than he is now?
10% more to go, man. Keep going.
No, but let's look at the positive. 20% or 10%, it's all a bonus. And we've always been good. We're just getting better.
Yeah. All right. So you know what? We're at the top of the hour here. Or at the bottom of the hour, I should say. So all right, we're going to go. And I want to see everybody at the PGA show and the Golf Business Conference next month, right? So, but what I do want to do in the moment, first of all, I want to thank you, Don, as my co-host. It's been a great year of Golf Business Live. Looking forward to more in 2025. I want to bring Taylor and Harry on the screen. Bring yourselves on. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the folks behind the scenes making Golf Business Live happen. Getting it together every week, running the show. Guys, thank you for what you do. It's been an awesome run this year. Appreciate you very much, and the entire NGCOA team and what we do. Absolutely. Oh, man.
Congratulations on your rise to number 20 on Golf Inc.'s Most Powerful, by the way.
Really?
Really? I would have brushed my hair, but, these headphones get a little shotty, as they say.
I got a new goal, Jay. I'm going to get higher than you on that. I'm calling Crittenden now. I'm calling Jack and going, I have to be higher than Jay on this list. I have to be.
Oh, a well-placed bribe will do you well. No, just kidding. I got to say, though, it's nice to be 2 above Rory on the leaderboard. That's all I'm going to say. I'm 2 above Rory on the leaderboard. No, thanks for appreciate that, guys. But you know what?
Yeah.
Here's why I'm on that list, man. Is because people are starting to take notice of what owners and operators do in this industry. And we are the risk takers. We own the land and the assets, and we take care of it. We take care of the people that get to be the farmers that you said, planting little seeds of golfers 4 years ago, right? Yeah. So it's the owner and the operator that's been the unsung hero of this industry for a long time. So maybe we're just kind of finally getting noticed a little bit. Maybe I helped with that a bit, but we play a very important role.
You did. You've been great, Jay. I'm seriously. I mean, yeah, I'm proud of the NGCOA. I'm proud of the PGA of America, but I'm really proud of the NGCOA because they're just still pushing the right messages. And that's awesome.
Right here, buddy.
There it is. There's
all right.
What if I had one on right now? I mean, why don't you send me one?
I could
have done that.
You're going to get one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.